Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to a special Sunday edition of Tea Time with Bunky. I have special guests. Let me turn this song off. Miss Rashonda Williams. Let's bring Rashonda in. Welcome, Rashonda.
Hey,
Okay,
I
wait
can hear you.
Okay, wait 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Turn that off. Hide. Special guest. Okay. Okay, for those that don't know, first of all, let me thank all my Facebook followers, my YouTube followers. I want to let you know I appreciate you. I want you to tell a friend, tell a family member, like, subscribe, share, follow, because this is a place where difficult conversations are had. Like I said, I have Miss Rashonda Williams on. She is the sister to Mr. Carl Williams. Some people know him as City. I didn't know him as City. I know him as Carl. That song that was playing, it was a song that Carl used to lead in this group. It was a quartet. I believe it was a quartet called the Royal Priesthood at Bethlehem Temple Church. And that was one of the songs. I mean, I can visualize him playing the keyboards and leading this song. So this was like really special. But we're going to talk about a situation that's about to rise. This title is Standing in the Gap. For those that don't know, Carl's mom passed away. Carl and Rashonda's mom passed away, still fighting for justice for her son, even though the two young men who murdered him were arrested. There's still a lot to it. So, Rashonda, I'm going to let you go, and then we're going to go from there. So, you want to tell the people a little bit about what's going on?
Okay, so it's three of them.
Okay, it was three.
One set it up, and the other two went out to actually commit the crime. We were told that it was a gang initiation
for the young boys. For the
younger boys.
Right, because they were boys. They were 16 and 17.
17. Yep.
Right.
So it was set up by the older kid, who's 22, Lawrence Watson.
Okay.
I believe he didn't carry it out too because he knew my brother and my brother could identify him.
The Watson guy. The Watson
yes.
guy. Okay.
Yes. This is a kid that had been to our house, played basketball with my brother. So nevertheless, I feel like that's why he didn't actually go out and commit the crime.
So he had these boys do it.
He set it up. Yes.
And they did it.
Okay. And so crazy thing is Carl he's not a rowdy kid. He doesn't really bother nobody. His thing is music. It's about the
always.
Music.
Right.
So to even get a phone call like that is just crazy. I remember that as if it was yesterday, that my cousin was calling me. And at first I'm like, why she keep calling? And so I answer her and she started asking me, does my brother have tattoos? And I'm saying, yeah, I'm explaining what the tattoos are. And she says, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, what? They just found him shot. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to be fine. Because, I mean, this kid survived being buried in a hole for 6-7 hours.
Yes, he did.
I'm thinking, cat 9 lives. He's going to be fine. And then I began to call my parents. And my mother wasn't answering me. And I got worried. I got my father, and he was really calm. So I really wasn't sure if he had heard what happened or if I should tell him. And so I pretty much asked him, Dad, did you hear something that's going on with Carl? And he's like, yeah, I'm going there now.
But there was no alert. He wasn't like heightened.
No, because he hadn't got there, and I don't know what they had told him over the phone.
Right.
Clearly my mom, she's already there. That's why she wasn't answering. A family member called me, and I could hear my mother screaming. And I knew that he was not alive. Mm-hmm. The scream, I will never, ever forget the scream that she gave when I heard it on the phone. And I knew nobody had to tell me. I just knew. And I remember asking my cousin, well, what are they doing? And it was like, you're not there. I'm all the way in New Jersey. And I'm like, well, what is going on? Like,
Right.
so I'm not even home yet.
Right.
Fast forward, I get home or whatever. And my question is, who did it?
Right.
I will always say I did not grieve properly. I dealt with anger more so than grief.
Right.
Because this is not a person that bothered anybody. And it's just like, why would you do that to him? I don't even think I think he'd been in one fight ever in his life. And I kind of pressured him into it because he was coming home saying somebody was bothering him. And I was like, you better fight them or I'm going to fight you. So it was more or less like he didn't really have a choice. So he's not a kid that would be outside fighting.
No, whatever. He wasn't. He was not. He wasn't.
Later, I learned that, he went looking for my Uncle Gary because obviously he had a feeling that something wasn't right about this whole phone call situation or whatever. Mm-hmm. So apparently,
you mentioned a phone call. So just tell the people that don't know, like this phone call.
So apparently, at that time, my brother was on survival mode, and I guess he had been selling marijuana. It's his. Okay. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
So apparently he got a phone call from Lawrence Watson asking for weed or to get him weed or bring him weed or whatever the case may be. Right. So my brother went to meet them. Now, I used to live in Shore Gardens, so I could understand him picking that as a safety place because I used to live there. There's a member from the church, two of them that lived there. Right.
Yeah.
So that to him must have seemed safe.
Right.
Well, when he got there, he was ambushed. However, he did ask somebody to go with him. And they said no. And to this day, I really feel like that person knew more than what they said because they could still to this day never look me in my face.
Right.
And then I have people who say that he went to look for my Uncle Gary, but my Uncle Gary wasn't home, whatever the case may be, so he didn't get to go with him. Basically, he went there, he got ambushed, and lost his life. The coroner said he died between 11 and 11:15. That's the window of him dying. He lived 3 minutes after being shot, and that was it. There was no phone call to the police station until 12:50.
Okay,
so now everybody's quiet now. This is a neighborhood that everybody knows everybody's business.
Right.
Now everybody's quiet now. So we're saying he's out there dead over an hour and no one calls and says anything.
So people heard, of course they heard the gunshots and nobody thought to call and be like, I'm hearing something outside. I'm not quite sure if it's firecrackers or what, but I think it's a gun. Nobody thinks.
No, nobody thinks to do that. And then the story was from some of the neighbors, they were afraid because it was a gang affiliation and so forth and so on. But we're still living in this community. We're still, doing whatever.
Right.
When I get home, we have a vigil. Everybody comes, they brings candles, everybody's coming. That's that same Wednesday. The one young man who is involved is there. He's there. He's at the vigil. I looked dead at him and I felt a weird feeling, but I wasn't really sure at that time what it was because at that moment I didn't trust anybody. Everybody was a suspect to me and I had to look at everybody sideways. But I remember looking right at him and he was sitting over by the garbages and he looked right at me. Fast forward, these boys walked around free for 6 months. 6 months. Carl was murdered in June.
Right. June 24th.
June 24th. So my mother, after months of no answers, nobody can tell her, nobody knew who did what. August, she decided that she was going to do a march. Mm-hmm. She did that on October 3rd, 2009. So this is 3-4 months after my brother's murder. Everybody in the community, they come, they march, they so forth, so on. We still don't have answers. Mm-hmm. We still don't know what's going on. They get arrested finally in December of 2009, 6 months. So now these kids done had birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving,
Right.
whatever. We didn't have
Right.
that,
Right.
but they had this. And allegedly someone shot up David Perkins's mother's car, which made him now a victim of a crime.
Okay. And for
So
those that don't know, David Perkins is one of the young boys. David was 16 at the time
mhm,
when this happened.
yes,
I'm
yes.
still trying to figure out why a 16-year-old has a gun. But we'll talk about that after. God, because I don't understand. Okay.
And no, not even just that. Like, these boys were not remorseful. These weren't no kids
Blows my
that
mind.
I did it and I'm sorry now.
Mhm.
No. DJ went on and played basketball for the school team, like no big deal.
Because, like I was telling you, the day he got arrested was the day that they were taking the basketball pictures for the yearbook.
Mhm.
So he's in that picture right before they took the picture. They came to the school and got him.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I remember seeing him, and who would have known? Would have never known.
Now, a little bit back from that, we find out later that after this, they kill my brother.
Right.
He drops his gun, so he's got to go back for it now. But he's went home and told his mother what he did. She goes out, flying out to see if it's true. Did she actually pull up on the body? I don't know, but the fact that you knew that your son just now committed this crime and your first thought was to put him in a car and drive him to his father in Long Island is amazing to me.
Okay, wait. Let's back it up. So he dropped the gun. Did they go to try to find the gun?
Oh, they went back and got it.
They went and
He
his
went
mother
back and
took
got
him
it.
back and got the gun.
I don't know if she took him back, but he went back and got it because in his confession, because I've heard their confessions, he said that he went back and got it.
Okay.
He never did say whether or not his mother took him, because my mother was very adamant about her being arrested because she aided her son.
Yeah, that's aiding and abetting.
I mean, and was
like,
never charged.
Like being a mom. Okay, our first instinct is to protect, right? That's our first instinct. But also being a mom, where is your empathy for a mom who I'm not understanding this at all.
Right. And as a mom, like you said, your idea is to protect. You have 4 other children. You don't even know what frame of mind your kid is in right now, that if that's how you raising him to take lives. Ain't you a little nervous that he's around the rest of his siblings? What happens when he gets mad with them? Would he shoot one of them?
Yeah, right.
I mean, as a mom, you should be having the equal protection for all of the children. Right. Nevertheless, who are we to question people's parenting skills?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
So she takes him to Long Island. He stays there for a while. And I guess once it dies down and people are not saying his name in the streets, because what you have to remember is while people were not talking to the police, they were definitely talking to family members, my father, everybody was getting phone calls of who it was. So it wasn't like it was a secret who it was. It was just more or less, when are they getting arrested?
And I don't get, that's something I don't get either, being a policey person myself. What is it with this fake, because I call it fake because it's not real loyalty to your boys or whatever, because you're watching them or this thing is going down, right? This thing happened and it's continuing to happen. Nobody want to say anything. Oh, we're going to protect them, or we're going to get justice in the streets or whatever. But what if it was you or your brother or your cousin or your friend? That's when you want everybody to talk. See, that's why I don't get this street lawyer. I'm not about that life. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me.
And the funny thing is, I've witnessed that personally. It was all quiet and hush hush when it was Carl, because it wasn't their family. Right. But the minute that some of these other young boys were victims, it was like, let's everybody snitch now. So this snitch code don't work for everybody. It just works for certain people.
And why is it snitching? It's like you're just coming forth with information
About a life.
Hello.
About a life. We're not talking about somebody selling drugs on the corner.
No. About
We're talking about somebody took somebody's life, and you know
a life.
And you sleep well at night knowing that you haven't said a word.
Well, I hope they don't.
But yeah.
I hope they don't. But.
Me too.
Yeah.
But clearly this must be, because nobody said a word. So they go through this whole nobody wants to talk, nobody wants to snitch, but they want to give their little inputs to the family. What does that do for the
bold.
family?
That's bold to me. That's something.
Mm-hmm. We've had anonymous calls. We've had people just anonymously emailing or texting or telling us something. We even had the made up story from one of the crackheads that actually made up a whole story. Okay. And she made up a story because back in April, when we were not getting any answers, right before my mom did a march, we did a Crime Stopper. So, as you know, Crime Stoppers only does $1,000. Our family actually put up the rest of the money. So we put up $5,000. I have the flyer. We had this flyer. Aww. And these flyers was taken all over Monticello. Mm-hmm. People were ripping them down.
What?
Because these are their friends now. I've witnessed it. I went to Evergreen and put them up and watched a kid take it down. And I went back and put it back up.
Why did they take it down?
Because these are their friends, and so they want to protect their friends. Yeah, so
friends. Okay.
Yeah, they don't want nobody to know that this money is involved now.
Yo, that's
mind
crazy.
You, when a family puts up this money, you don't get that money back. That money actually goes to the next family or whoever can't afford to actually put the money up.
Right.
So so now we're talking about a funeral paid for. This reward money paid for, all because we supposedly going with the code of the streets. We've stolen, because the whole purpose of this was to rob him for a chain that he bought with his money, not drug money.
And people don't understand. Those little knuckleheads don't understand the reason why he even got the chain. What the chain symbolized. There was a purpose.
Yes, it was. We grew up in church, so everything is with purpose. So
everything is with purpose.
Now they got the chain, whatever. Now my brother's not here. So they get arrested because allegedly someone shot at David Perkins' mother's car. Mm-hmm. So they used that to get him into the precinct to confess or whatever, question him. Mind you, Lawrence Watson had already told the whole story.
And he's the one that set it all up.
He's the first one to get arrested and convicted. He was convicted March of 2010, I believe.
And he's singing like a bird. He's singing.
But he's telling, because he's got other stuff that he's already did here while he was here. And he's got stuff in Florida that he's done too. So he's at this point gave it up. But not these other two. Even when we were in court and they give you the chance to do an impact statement, mm-hmm. which is basically your feelings on how this affected you.
Right.
He did, and I'm not excusing him, take responsibility, and he did apologize to my parents. Not that that's something you could really apologize for, but it was like he at least took the initiative to do that. Not these other two younger ones. And the crazy thing is, everybody in the group is mad with each other because they are saying each other snitched. All of them snitched. Okay, I'm here to tell you that I wish that I had the actual tapes of them confessing. They told on each other. So ain't everybody running around here talking about their family didn't snitch and they the lawyer. Your family snitched, baby. They told everything that happened.
But the thing is, what I'm not getting is all of this that's going on, right? We have all this going on. These disrespectful kids, their family being disrespectful, and you have your mom and your dad who are in the church. Yeah, but I watched your mom through this thing. I watched mm-hmm. her from a distance. Mm-hmm. And she did it with such grace but broken, because everybody knows Carl that's her baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
the fact that these people, these characters don't even care enough, you know what I'm saying? Or the family to reach out to her. Like I've seen, like I watch a lot of TV. I've seen shows where, like FBI shows or whatever, when family members of the convicted, okay, reach out to the family members of the lives they took, and it's like really heartfelt.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
Never.
say? What does that say about you as a person?
Right.
That you can't even reach. I mean, come on, who does that? Like, what is that about? I'm sorry, that's
And
not.
we've never gotten that from nobody, any of them at
That's
all.
mind blowing to me.
And one of the craziest things I remember my mom saying to me, because as you know, when they got arrested, they went to the courthouse, the village courthouse, I guess, and then they bumped them up to the big courthouse or whatever. My mom sat across from one of the kids' mother who asked her son, did he get his sneakers? So you sitting across from my mother who lost her kid, and you're asking your kid, did he get his sneakers? Her kid can't wear sneakers. He can't wear nothing.
Who does that?
Who does that?
Who does that?
Throughout the court process, my family could tell you it was chaotic. I mean, at one point they were saying that nobody could wear red shirts in there anymore because we were acting up. We're yelling, we're doing signs, we're staring, trying to intimidate now.
Wait, y'all trying to intimidate, or the other people?
Oh no, they're trying to intimidate us because they're like staring at us from like,
you know what?
Whatever.
That whole mindset right there. That
tells you a lot.
Right. There's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Something is wrong. And these boys, these boys, because that's what they were. Mm-hmm. Boys. One, Jacquees was charged with first a felony murder, second-degree manslaughter, first-degree robbery, and second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. That was
the manslaughter. They never kept the manslaughter because on our paperwork that I have from the court, it gave me second-degree murder, first-degree robbery, and criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree.
Now that's what David got.
That's what according to my sheet, that's what they both got. Because I actually have the actual court. The actual court record. I think they were trying to do a manslaughter in the beginning, but I guess maybe that they, because this was a lot of debacle back and forth. But yes, this is both of them. I don't know if you can see both their names is up there.
Yes. Yep, I see it. Mm-hmm.
And there's their charges. So like these are, of course I have every paper.
Right.
So
as you should. They
were charged with those three things, and convicted of those things. During that process, one of my major things was it bothered me to not know how my brother felt because he was by himself.
Right.
It bothered me to know, like, what was the last thing he was saying or thinking. And when we heard their confessions, these boys said that my brother, and I voted in quotes, that they held their guns to his head and went through his pockets. So the two of you are holding guns to his head and you're going through his pockets. He's by himself the entire time.
He's little. Carl's a little dude. He wasn't big and buff that you needed two people.
You didn't even need ammo because he's not that kid.
He's not that kid. He's not that kid.
So they said while they rifled through his pockets, he stood there with his hands up. Okay. So when you got your hands up, that's surrender, not defense.
Yes, right.
And his last words was, here, take everything.
And those punks shot and killed him. Because they took everything. Freaking cowards. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to get upset.
They cowards. And he said, here, take everything.
Take everything.
He told you take everything. And you took everything because you took his life with you.
And you still.
And then they said, Oh, if given the opportunity, they would apologize to our family. Never
No,
happens.
no,
Never happens. Even
no.
during court processes and impact statements, which I have mine posted on my Facebook because I don't ever want that to. I want that to be a constant reminder. When you
Right.
log in to look at me, you'll see my impact statement. I was warned by the judge for defamatory statements. I was raised in church, so I took you to a biblical place. So that can't be.
Yeah, you better not speak on the Lord. But you can brand a weapon and shoot somebody, but you better not speak about the Lord.
No, not at the courthouse. So they started to disrespect. They were getting up, walking out because they didn't like what I said. This impact statement was about me and how I felt.
And you're his sister.
And they couldn't even respect that.
Of course
that
not.
You got up and walked out. And then at the end, you know, my family clapped and they warned everybody they was going to kick them out or whatever. For clapping?
The disrespect that was shown, not against you, Rashonda. I'm thinking about your mom right now. But the disrespect that these people showed, they gave no respect. There was no sympathy. There was no empathy. There was no compassion. But you know what, though? You know what's good about all of this? At the end of the day, they still got to answer. They still got to answer to God.
You reap what you sow.
It's not over. It's not. They still got to answer to God. I'm sorry. Go ahead, because that's.
And it was so bad that it got to the point where, like, all of our family couldn't sit through court anymore because the older ones, you know, now this is becoming a situation where are they in danger because they're coming to court to support. Now, listen, we don't know what our children or whoever are going to do in life.
Right.
I have 4 children. God forbid they ever took somebody's life. I will pray that's not something they would ever do.
Right.
But even as a mother, if I was going to sit and support my kid, you sit quiet and support your kid because your kid was wrong.
Wrong. As 2 left shoes. Wrong.
This was supposedly a robbery, and supposedly the gun went off by accident. This boy got shot in his face. That wasn't no accident. Because if you listen to the confession, you had the gun to his head. So how did it now get to his face? Which means you looked him dead in his eyes and you shot him.
This should have never.
You are a savage.
Savage.
You are a savage. And there's no accident when you're looking somebody. Accident, your leg, your arm, not your face.
There should have never been a gun involved. That's a punk mess. Because back in the day when I was growing up, they used to fight with their hands. They're going to rob you or whatever. They're going to fight with their hands. But you got a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old come into a robbery for an initiation, take somebody's life, and then you have these people in the streets holding them up in support. What kind of people are y'all? And then when something happens to one of them people, oh, well, you notice how great people they were? Oh, they were such a good man. They were really. You were.
They went to the places of, oh, my brother was selling drugs. My brother at this time, I was living in New Jersey. He was supposed to be coming to New Jersey. That was like our plan. However, he decided to stay here or whatever. Went through his little struggles.
He has
staying here, staying there. Right. Staying here, staying there, doing what he needed to do to survive out here. Because he's trying to make this music and do what he's doing.
Right. A talented musician he was.
Yes. He was supposed to be making demos and all this stuff for, a prominent rapper and stuff. Right. So now you just took his life for a gold change that he already told you can have. Because in your words, he said, here, take everything.
Right.
And you still did what you did. So now the story is it was an accident. The gun went off by accident. This is why children shouldn't play with guns. Where did these children get guns? Like,
where'd they come from?
Yeah, where did they come from? Were they in your houses? As a parent, you don't know that your kid has a gun in your house?
Well, sometimes we don't know what they got.
Sometimes you don't know what they got, but a whole gun, you ain't never been in there to clean up, see something. Come on.
You ain't snooping. They 16 and 17. You ain't snooping.
Because I'm a snooper.
So I'm snooper.
Yeah. So it's just like you're not watching who your friends are. And these are not kids who had never been in trouble. So let me say that they've been in trouble, according to the police, at young ages, 13, 14, taking cameras off the buildings and little stupid crimes. So they were already doing things. So all the more reason as a mother, you need to be seeing that's the more reason for you to snoop now, because your child is showing you that they can't be trusted.
Yeah.
So my mom, after all of that, my mother, she did three things. Her organization was called the Local Call for Change. The first one was October 3rd, 2009. Then she had a second walk through Broadway on July 10th, 2010. And then the last thing she did was the big event in De Hoyos Park. She did that in June 21st, 2014, which was coming up on my brother's anniversary. And that's what she wanted to do. So instead of allowing this to affect her negatively, she went out here and thought about somebody else's kids in the community.
Because that was Sister Janette.
Because that's what she does.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because I have a piece of her impact statement where she says, David and Jacquees, the two of you, along with your co-defendant, Lawrence Watson, have really sent me in a backwards spiral by taking the life of my son. When you look upon me, you look upon someone who refuses to sit back and remain quiet while another family member's life is taken away at the hands of evil, callous, and selfish individuals as yourself. So when she say backward spiral, she definitely did. This has affected my parents to the point of sickness. My mother already had lupus, but this, of course, increased.
Right.
Even though she's going through all of her own medical issues, she's still going to look out for somebody else's kid. Because as she said, she wasn't going to sit quiet and let this go to be to somebody else.
Right.
And she didn't. Right. She rallied this community together. I don't know that me as a mother could have done that because, like I said, I did not operate out of grief. I was very angry.
Right.
So it takes a toll on everybody because everybody deals with it differently. Now, my brother is I'm going to say fourth homicide in my one side of the family. So that's a lot.
That's a crazy trauma.
That's a lot.
Severe
so when you
trauma.
look at me, you see God, because I don't know how I'm not crazy and walk around the streets just crazy. But my mother passed away June 15th, 2020.
Right.
We got a letter saying that Jacquees is up for parole August 2024. So he's done 15 years. So my nephew was 3 when his dad died, and he is 16 now. Okay, so he's 16 now. So now he's becoming a young man.
Right. That grew up without his father.
So,
yeah.
Now you're putting another child in the same shoes you were in.
Right.
Because I don't believe their fathers was involved. I didn't see any fathers in the courtroom. So I'm gonna safe to assume that they were not involved. But you leave somebody else with that same feeling that you had.
Right.
So he's coming up for parole. My goal is I need letters. Everybody say they love Carl. That's their cousin, their brother, their friend, they whatever. I need letters.
Right. And you can email it right there. There's an address right there that you can send it to mymothersfight@gmail.com. Okay.
Yep. So all these letters are basically saying why you don't feel that he should be paroled. Why should he be back in the same community that he took a life from? I live in this community. My father lives in this community. Right. My family lives in this community. I am now without a brother, and I am without a mother. Okay, my dad is not doing well with this. Mm-hmm. So my grandmother has also passed away since this. This is a harsh reality to live in for 15 years. It don't seem like 15 years, but that just ain't enough time.
Right. Is this first?
It's not enough time.
Is this his first parole hearing?
This is his first parole hearing. Okay. And it's like we've not gotten a rest because in between all of these things going on, Perkins requested an appeal. He wanted to appeal because he wanted to get out or whatever.
And he
Both of
confessed.
them, both of them confessed
So how
and
he
told what each
appealing?
other did.
So how
Yeah,
he appealing?
and told what each other did. And the craziest thing, they've been locked up together for most of the years they've been locked up. They've been locked up together. So now they've had time to tweak these stories, change up whatever they said from the beginning. So of course everything ain't the same. But we had to go back. We had to go to Albany because this kid wanted to appeal. He wanted to get out. Now he's blaming the police beat him up. The police did this. The police did that. Yeah.
What?
And made him say
You know
that
what?
he did it.
Nothing. I was gonna say something.
So he said the police made him say that he. Now listen.
Right?
I
Really?
know that
No,
we live in
no.
a time where a lot of times we are against the police, and these brutalities are happening, and some of them are not warranted, but some
That
of these people
not
are
happen.
crossing paths with the police. So you can't now go back when you're crossing the path. If you don't want to be a victim, stay out of their path. Yes, there are
Hello?
going to be victims that are not in the path of the police,
Right.
but when you are constantly in the path of police,
But
what could we say?
they told what happened. So
Yes,
it's
they
not,
did.
so like this doesn't make any sense. Like this.
But now you got to remember, now they're in the jail together and they're thinking
Right.
of things and thinking of ways to get out of here now. So now we're going to come up with this story.
Well,
And
that's
I'm
a
quite
story.
sure if they would have allowed this to go with him, then the other one would have came back with this same story. But that got knocked down and they denied the appeal. But
thank
it's
God
been
for
no
that.
rest. It's been no
Yeah,
rest.
No.
Because it was like we constantly are going through something. It's constantly some kind of process. You got to go to court. You got to go to court for over a year because this happened in 2009. They didn't even get convicted till 2010. I mean, it's like you're constantly, you think it's done. You could breathe a little bit and then it's back to court, or if somebody's appealing or if somebody's doing something. It's at this point, do your time.
Yeah, basically.
Do your time.
Yeah. Because
Now you on parole. You've been in trouble since you've been there. Because I keep up. Oh,
so
yeah,
it's not
I
like they
keeps
were
up.
model inmates. They weren't
No.
model. And
No.
they want to get out and be a menace to society. Like that's what they
Mhm.
want to do. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
All right. People write your
So,
impact letters. Write your
letters.
Write your letters.
And they're gonna go. That's my email, my mother's fight at Gmail, because now somebody got to continue where my mom left off.
Exactly.
This is definitely not me. But I always say, God had to get me to this place to humble me, because this is my first time ever doing a live talking about it. Unless you're really close to me, you really don't know how I felt. But this was a struggle. This was a struggle.
Can't even imagine.
And it's like, I think about it on holidays. I think about my kids are graduating. They're doing things, and things that my brother would be here for, he's not here for.
And your son has his whole face.
Yep. And now I got a kid that looks just like him, and he's into
just
the music.
like him. Just like
and that was like a difficult thing for me too when my son wants to do music, because it's like my brother wanted to do music and this is how he ended up. And it's not the music, it's just this is the fate of what happened to him. So you start to think all these things. I would have dreams about him bleeding from his head, and I would be waking up in my sleep, and in my head I could see that. These are the effects, and I'm affected. But it's like, are they?
Right.
Because it just doesn't seem like that. So it's like it's a constant torture. Now you want to tell me about, it's been 15 years, we're going to parole them. No, absolutely not. I'm sorry.
I don't know nothing about the legal system, but I don't think it's that easy, especially since they've been getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you have to show some change and growth. I think that's one of the requirements, I would hope that's one of the requirements,
And it's like, still, my mother left this world, and you never even gave her an apology. You never even acknowledged what you did. And the only time that they ever said, when they read your charges, and once you decide that you're going to plead out, they basically ask you, do you agree that you committed such and such a crime? And they have to say yes. Mm-hmm. That's the most admitting that they've done. After the impact statements, they give them an opportunity to speak. They spoke, and they were apologetic to their families for what they're going through. What exactly is it that they're going through?
They can go visit them.
They can go visit them.
And now they can email some of the prisons. You can do Facebook, and also what?
You're getting packages. I mean, what is it that you're missing?
Like what?
I
The
can't give my
physical,
brother a package. You know what? I get to take my
yeah.
brother a solar light, a solar light, and a flower and a candle. That's what I get to take him. There's no visit to him. I'm visiting a cemetery with someone who doesn't talk back to me. I've gotten to a place where I've had to get out of going there because I felt like that just wasn't therapeutic for me anymore. But it's like you're constantly finding ways to deal with that. I'm a lot better than I used to be, thank God. But it's still difficult. I'm the oldest. I watched this kid come in the world. Like, I know a lot of people have siblings, but I actually was in the room when my brother
Yeah.
came out of my mother. So
Ooh.
I was in the room. So I got to
Right.
watch him come in the world.
Yeah.
That's been who I've been with. He moved out
Yeah.
of my house for maybe a year. We've always lived together. I moved out and he still moved out with me. Like, we've always lived together.
Right.
So it's a lot, but it's definitely I'm not letting nobody go to parole. I'm gonna be at every parole hearing. I'm gonna be at everything. I'm doing all of these letters now.
Right.
I'm gonna have them submitted now. So
And when do
that
they due by? I mean, like when, right, you want to get the letters in as soon as possible. But
yes,
when do you have to make sure you have all the letters in?
I'm trying to have everything in by January.
Okay.
Because January will be 2022 and then he'll be, up soon for parole. But I want everything in line and together now because once these are submitted, they go to the parole board now. So they will have them now. So that I want them to have an opportunity to read each and every letter from each and every person. I don't want no excuses. I don't want you to say I gave it to you last minute and you don't have time to read these 200 or whatever letters, because that's what I'm trying to do is flood their office with letters. I want them to have so many letters. They need more time to read them. So he got to stay there for the time that they need to read them.
And the thing about it is, well, I don't think people are getting like the people in not even just involved, but like with that mindset, that mentality anyway, is you want to make the goal is to make your community and every place safer for your children, your children's children, and vice versa. Keep going on, keep going on. But as long as you keep having these senseless shootings, gang violence, this I'm gonna take what I want. I don't have to work for it. You make me mad. I'm gonna take your life. Long as you continue to have that mindset, we're going to continue to be having these type of conversations.
Yep.
It's scary to walk down the street because you don't know somebody looking at each other, and you're like, okay, what? Are we gonna have the Wild Wild West up in here?
Oh, you got the wrong color on.
I wear neutral colors, which is crazy to me. How y'all fighting over a color? That's like the dumbest thing to me. But I wear neutral colors. But you know what? If I want to wear red, I'm gonna wear red. If I want to wear blue, I'm gonna wear blue. I don't rock with that gang mess. I think it's stupid. Personally, I don't get it. And the fact that these boys were, to say it was an initiation, basically, to take somebody's life. Why would you want to be a part of something that's taking another life of a young Black man who had potential, who was a father? Why would you want to be a part of that? Why, as the parents and the uncles and the aunts and the grandparents, why aren't you checking these people?
These kids,
That's it, right. Why aren't you checking your kids, their kids? Because the problem is and I was a young mom. But see, I was that young mom that was a mom. I didn't want to turn up with my kids as soon as they got a certain age. No. Once you become a parent, your responsibilities kick in like that. That party life, all that stuff is done until your kids are old. It is your responsibility. God gave you them. God gave you them. And for you to just set them free and turn them loose like that, it's
and why are 16 and 17-year-old kids, see, they questions the wrong questions is why did Carl have weed, or why was he smoking?
You know what?
Most of these people smoke weed now. It's legal now anyway because everybody want to smoke. But my question is, those are not the right questions to be asking. Why are we not asking why 16 and 17-year-old is outside at that time of night unsupervised? Where is your parents?
I don't know. So what? If he had a duffel bag, full of weed,
it's his.
It's his. You don't have a right to take it.
Anybody, yeah.
Come on.
And this it's no supervision, because again, they were getting
No.
in trouble prior to this. So where is the supervision, and why are they not accountable for supervising their children?
And why was there no aiding and abetting going on? I just want to
My
know
mother
that.
has asked that from day one. She's been questioning that. She's been asking for that, and it just, I don't know why it never happened, but it never happens. We asked for restitution. Again, this wasn't about no money.
Right. It's not about the
This
money.
was
It's the
about the
principle.
fact,
The
yes,
principle.
absolutely, because
Right.
my nephew is without a father.
Right.
So all of these things, not only did you take some life, you incurred all these bills that y'all can't pay. So now we paying for this, we paying for that, because being a victim of a crime, you still got to pay for everything. It's no, oh, because somebody killed you, get everything for free. But these people getting every kind of service that they could get.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
That we're paying for. So now I'm paying for them to be in jail.
Yeah.
And you want to release them from the jail that I'm paying for them to be there. So if I'm paying for them to be there, I feel like I have some say so that they should stay there because I'm paying for it.
Right.
And I will happily go to work every single day to continue to pay for them to be there.
No, and it's sad. Well, you know what? It's okay. Somebody sent you a message on your Gmail.
Okay, thank you.
The thing is, these people that do this, these type of crimes and stuff like that, I hope they don't, not even just don't sleep. I hope that when they blink, these are the things that they see. These are the things that they see. People, I could see, and I'm not giving it a pass, but I could see if they were like under the influence of something crazy. They did this. They went to court. They spoke to your mom. I mean, like crying. Still go to jail and do your time. But like, I'm trying to give some sort of humanity to it. Like they're on something, maybe they go to court, they're so apologetic, they're crying, nose running, they're in jail, and while they're in prison, they're doing everything to better their lives and try to come up with a plan to better the community when they get out. But no, they want to be in there fighting and carrying on.
Because you should be begging for forgiveness. You took
be.
something from someone that you had no right to take. But that's not, we've never gotten that. And it's sad that my mom left this world like that and never even got that kind of closure. Never got like a conversation from nobody. And they don't have to do this through us. They could have wrote these letters and sent it to the DA's office. I'm sure they wouldn't have had a problem submitting them to my mother if it was but there was none of that. And then to walk around in the community and walk around and say hello to people like it's okay now because it's been 12 years, I can say hi to you. That's not, I'm not, I love God, and I'm trying to live the right path, but I ain't there yet.
Right.
I'm not there yet because there's nothing that you said to us that was
genuine
or even apologetic at this point.
Human.
Like I said, I will give you that Lawrence Watson did that. That was how he came. Now he could have been crying because, his life is, but at least we got that from him a little bit.
But he set the whole thing up though.
He did. But I at least got that much from him. I didn't have no disrespect from his family. Didn't nobody come for him. Nobody came to court to support him. None of that. So it was so easy to go through the court process with him.
Right.
Because there was no drama. There was no extra on top of already what you've done. Right. So it's a little different. And I know a lot of people always say that to me. Well, he's the one who set it in action. It is, but at the same token, it was a less stressful time dealing with the court process with him. There's been no appeals on his end. There's been none of that.
Right.
He's doing his time.
Yeah.
And there was no, now what his family, they may have supported him in other ways, but none of them came in that courtroom. None of them acted a fool in the courtroom. None of them did none of that. We didn't have any of that. Right. It was quick and done.
Right.
This was a long process, and he got sentenced before the others, so he got arrested and was sentenced in March of that following year. So we didn't have a long process with him.
My God.
So yeah,
Well, yeah.
make sure you send your letters to my mother's fight at Gmail.
Yes, because you are taking up your mother's mantle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this just can't go like that because you think about it, like those families or whatever, they get to go take those jail pictures with
Yep.
their loved one. But in your
Yep.
mind, forever, Carl is going to look a certain way.
Way.
He's
Yeah.
forever going to have that youthful, young look for the rest of your memory of him.
Yeah.
And the fact that these people just don't care enough. I hope it gets it. I know this is going to get back to me. At first, I was a little stressed, but I'm like, you know what? Yo, the Lord got me. I don't got time for this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Right is right, wrong is wrong. You know, you
Right.
can't hold them up in their right. I mean, they're wrong. You can't.
And my brother has 2 sons. So he has 2 sons,
Yes. Okay. I don't even
two
know about
little young
Micaiah.
black boys
Yeah.
he's got, and they're gonna be without their father. So now
Mm-hmm.
when they have children, they're never gonna know their grandfather. My son doesn't know who my brother is, other than the stories that we've told him. He's never got
Right.
the opportunity to meet him.
Right.
But it's like it's we can't go nowhere to go visit him other than
Right.
to the cemetery.
Right.
There's nowhere we can talk, no way for us to talk to him or take pictures with him. How
Right.
he looked when he left is how I'm always going to know he
Exactly.
looked.
Exactly.
I don't know what he's going to look like when he gets old.
Right. Probably like your father. He probably
Yeah.
he probably will look like just like your dad. He probably will.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. My heart breaks for you. It breaks for
Yeah.
the family because I knew Carl. So it's like when I got the word,
Mm-hmm.
when I found out, first of all, it was unbelief. Because I'm like, nah, not little Carl. And then
Right.
nickname City. I said, when I heard his name City, I said, okay, that's him trying to run away from that church boy image, which he
Yep.
will always have.
Always be.
It doesn't
Yep.
matter. But but he wouldn't hurt anybody.
No.
He wouldn't hurt anybody.
No.
The fact that after they shot this man, they had the blackness in their soul to take the chain off of his head. Who does
There's
that?
that.
So to have all of that and think about Carl and reflect on Carl, like I was telling you, when I got the song "Open the Floodgates" by Bishop Paul Martin, I started crying. Like what is going on? Like this is.
Because you can see him at the
I
piano
can see
singing.
him at
Yep.
it, and I remember when he was learning how to play. Remember when he was just learning? Then he wanted to learn how to play the bass, and we got, oh God, here go Carl. But before you know it, he had that stuff down.
Down. Yeah.
So for these kids, these boys, to have taken his life the way they did, and then think that it's okay for them to try to take back their story and say the police beat them up and now they have a right to be out on the street, lies. They don't have a right. They don't have a
No.
right to be
No.
no, they need to be locked up for about 50 more before they can go
Yeah.
up for parole.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be
Because
allowed
at this
to breathe.
point, at this point you're in your 30s. You
Yeah.
still got a whole lot of life in your
They
30s.
should not be able to breed.
Nope.
They should have no offspring. Like
No.
Judas, it was over with Judas. It needs to be over. There comes a time when
Well, unfortunately, I believe 2 of them do have children.
Right.
I know that Lawrence
older
Watson.
one. Right.
Yeah, he has a
The
child.
oldest one. Uh-huh.
Yes, and I was told that one of the other ones allegedly has a child too. I don't know.
They're
It's
16 and
alleged.
17.
Again, why is all this happening and we don't know what's going on with our children?
I know, but okay. Is there anything you want to throw out before we get ready to go?
No, I just want everybody to send the letters, email these letters. It's important.
Yeah, these letters are super important. Do I have that? Yeah, I still have it down. It's at the bottom of the screen. My mother's fight. Rashonda is asking for people to write in letters if you care about their family. If you love Carl, if you love Janette, write a letter because Janette would have been on it. She would have been on it. Write a letter stating why you don't feel as, which one is it? Jacques is one
Yes.
should be
Yes.
paroled at this time. And your feelings as to why. Hello, it seems like there's no remorse. That's what it seems to me. Like you haven't changed. Like what is your prison record going? What is it looking like? Like how many is it tickets, flags, or whatever? But something that happens when they get in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of those things have he gotten since he's been locked up? Does he
Right.
deserve to be back out in the free world? Like these are questions you need to ask. Look at what's going on in Monticello now, the violence that's going
Right.
on now. Do you need another element, another
To add
factor
to.
in this?
Mm-hmm.
Because now he's gonna come out as, yo, I'm hardcore. I done spent time. You know, that crazy mentality. So
Mm-hmm.
these are questions you need to ask yourself.
Yep.
Write that letter so it's with heartfelt feeling. Get it to Rashonda. She can get it to the judge or wherever she needs to go. And when
And
they go,
nobody knows that these like I'm the only person that would obviously see who actually wrote the letter. I'm going to print out the letters. I'm not going to print all of the people's names on the letters, just the letters. You know, for safety purposes or reasons. I know some people don't want.
yeah, some people they're afraid because especially if you live in the community and you're around the family and the friends of these people that have the heart and that's not even a heart. They rip down the sign, the reward sign. Who does that? Like the mindset of these people, I can't wrap my mind around it. And if y'all out there watching that's a part of this think it's okay, you really need to check yourself because something is seriously wrong. You better have a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, you reap what you sow.
It's terrible. Yeah, and then everybody's gonna be crying. Oh well, he was such a wonderful man. Lies. It's not true. It's not true. It's true when it happens to you or somebody shoots up your mother's car.
Yep.
Now you want justice.
Yeah.
Well, Janette needs justice. She needs 50 more years before anybody can go up for parole. That's
because I just feel like what my mother did all of this for other people's kids.
Yeah.
That can't be the repayment is to let him go free.
No.
That can't be the repayment of all the work that she's done. And the fact that she's no longer here, that can't be the repayment to her or to my father who still lived in the community. That man worked all his life in this community. So that just can't be, that's just not acceptable.
It's not okay. And it'll never be okay. And I saw your mom right before her surgery, before everything happened. I saw her, and the first thing she asked me was, "How are the boys doing?" As always, and how's my Russell doing? Like always, how's Kitty Gamble? How's my Russell? You know, so her heart never got hard.
No,
so this woman deserves some kind of peace.
Yep.
She deserves some peace. Carl deserves peace. Rashonda deserves peace. His boys, his father. Come on, y'all need to do the right thing. Get the letters in. I will be writing mine.
Okay.
I try to have it to before the night is over. Does it have to be a certain length? Like
no,
a couple of sentences, like a paragraph, 4 sentences, right?
Yeah, she said just whatever letters I could get. She said it doesn't have to be obviously 3-4 pages. You know, y'all don't gotta be like me because you know mine about to be long. But
all right, I'm gonna write it with feel and then with passion. I have my letter. Okay, so Rashonda, you stay right here. For everybody, thank you for joining this edition of Tea Time at Bunkie. Like I said, my YouTube followers, thank you so much. I appreciate you. The Facebook followers, I appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. You can tell people to watch after the fact. You can always view after the fact. Tea Time at Bunkie, the place where difficult conversations. Get your letter in to Miss Rashonda Williams at mymothersfight@gmail.com. You guys have a wonderful night. Any questions or comments, you can email Rashonda. I'm sure you're taking questions there too, right? Okay, so reach out to her. I'm sure she'll be glad to answer your questions. So you guys have a good night.
Bye.